I don't know how people handle this insane drama. Starting us off, am I the a-hole for telling my heavily pregnant friend her fiance was in a documentary? Which one? Like, is he a serial killer? Or... Okay, it's currently 4 a.m. and I have felt so guilty right now, I can't sleep. Okay, why are we saying okay? Okay. So myself and a few girlfriends decided to watch a documentary that has been trending. Not gonna lie, I was expecting a documentary showing a human side of a certain person, but yeah, as anyone who has watched the documentary knows what it is. I need to know a documentary. On to the issue, my friend's fiance was one of the 1,000 I wasn't the first person to notice, 2 other friends were. I didn't believe it at first, but with a second watch, it was definitely him. Now, even though his face was covered in body shape and the tattoos were undeniable. We debated till the early hours of the morning if we should tell her or wait because she's 8 months pregnant. But in my opinion, if someone cheats like that, it's not their first time, and I would rather lose her friendship for telling her straight away than finding out that I knew and hid it, because let's be real, when you tell someone news like that, there's a huge chance they will hate you and not the cheater. So this Sunday morning, I asked my friend to meet up to talk. I showed her the evidence, and the minute she looked at the picture, she knew it was him and broke down. I expected her to be angry at me, but she thanked me for being honest, as multiple people have hinted that she should watch the documentary instead of being upfront like I was. I ended up driving her to her mom's house. I'm guessing she told her fiance. I told her because he has been blowing up my phone, calling me evil, little homewrecker, who ruined not only his life, and also calling me out on social media for trying to ruin his relationship and wanting his unborn daughter to grow up without a dad. Okay, that's extreme. These are your actions. So your unborn daughter is going to grow up with a dad who cheated on mom. And that's just because of your actions. My friends are angry with me for telling her straight away and not waiting till she had the baby in case the stress would cause issues to her health. I don't give 2 shites, if I'm being honest, about her fiance, but I feel so bad for putting my friend in this situation while she is heavily pregnant, and I'm worried if something does happen to her, it would be my fault. Like maybe she would have watched it herself and found out on her own. Am I the a-hole for telling my pregnant friend that her fiance was in a documentary? That's interesting. Let me know your opinions, especially moms out there. You know what it's like to be pregnant. You would know, would it be better to find out after? Would it be better to find out right away? I don't know. I feel like it's worse if your friend knows and they don't say anything. Because whether it happens before the baby or after, it doesn't change the fact that it happened. But I get wanting the safety of your friend's pregnancy also. We do have an update, which came the very next day. My friend's fiance wasn't the only one of our partners to do the lineup. My boyfriend of 3 years was one, so was another friend's husband. 2 hours ago, he posted screenshots, a group chat, and photographic receipts no one could deny. Other men in relationships are involved, he said in the caption, quote, "I wasn't the only one there," tags me. "Maybe check your own man before coming from my relationship," and then tagged 5 other women. "I'm not taking the blame alone and being seen as the bad guy," while tagged other men did the same. There was a lot more said, but I stopped reading and I just deleted my social media account, then blocked my now ex. I don't want to hear his explanation. I feel so humiliated and physically sick. I don't know how I'm going to face the coworkers or clients at work tomorrow. Oh my, what documentary is this? Everyone's finding out their man's cheating? You guys, future Joss here, all right? There has been some development in this story, and I owe it all to my editor, all right? Because she informed me, she did some digging and found out what the documentary is called. Now, I can't say it on here, and you'll know why in a second, but I'm gonna censor it, all right? So there is a porn star, a very famous one, not saying the name because it gets flagged, so don't say it in the comments, but she did this viral series video thing where she had a sleepover, an adult sleepover with 1,000 men in 24 hours, 12 hours, I don't even remember. So all the boyfriends that were seen in this documentary, they were seen in that video. So oh my God. I mean, that's pretty cowardly too, to be like, I'm not just being the only cheater here. Let me expose all the other cheaters. Like, Okay. I don't know, doesn't fix your relationship either way, but all right. Well, there you have it. Not only did your pregnant friend get cheated on in this documentary, but so did you. Now I need to watch this we all need to watch this documentary and make sure our men aren't in it. Apparently, what is it called? Today I effed up when I invited a homeless person to a house party. I am so intrigued. This story was posted March 29th, 2023. Last night, I, 24 male, convinced a random homeless man to come with me to a house party. I was very high when I made this decision. I would be more concerned if you were sober. The house party was also a costume party. I had an extra costume, but not an extra person. So I was like, why not go out and find an extra person? The homeless man in my street was at the top of my list of potential candidates. I approached him and I asked if he was keen to go to a house party dressed as a stormtrooper. He asked if there would be food. I said yes, and alcohol. A homeless man was in. We showed up at the house party together. I was dressed as Jesus. White robe, crown of thorns, hippie hair, you know, the whole conventional version. The homeless man was dressed from head to toe as an average stormtrooper. What a duo to roll up to a party. Stormtrooper and Jesus. I encouraged him to avoid removing his helmet and drawing too much attention. A suggestion, not an instruction. I didn't keep an eye on the homeless man for the entire night. He just did his thing, I did mine. From time to time, I caught him low-key lifting his helmet above his mouth to eat or drink when he thought that no one was watching. Seeing that convinced me that I did the right thing. Oh my God, you probably made his whole day. The homeless man was having a good time and my stormtrooper costume did not go to waste. A win-win. Like I said, I was high. If you're reading this, something obviously went wrong. I found out when it was too late that another person at the party was also wearing a stormtrooper costume. That stormtrooper was at the party with his girlfriend, who at some point confused the two stormtroopers and ended up grinding dancing with the homeless stormtrooper. Oh my God, I would buy a ticket just to be at this party to witness this. The boyfriend stormtrooper noticed his girlfriend enthusiastically rubbing her butt on another person's crotch and wasted zero time introducing his fist to that recipe. I was not there to witness what happened in person, and even if I was, I doubt I would have been sober enough to realize what was going on. I've heard more than one version of the story. Some say the two stormtroopers fought each other until the unknown stormtrooper lost the fight and ran away. Others say the unknown stormtrooper won the fight and then ran away. That being said, everyone agreed that one of the stormtroopers did indeed run away. No one knew it was my stormtrooper who ran away with my costume. I really liked that costume. Now I may never see it again. And there's an update, which I'm very curious about. This one came July 27th, 2025. This was 2 years later. Oh my gosh. All right. We got a 2-year later update. A couple years ago, I invited a homeless man to a house party. No idea why I did that, but since I had a decent amount of, substances in my system, I was like, the substances made me do it. I never thought I would see the homeless man or my stormtrooper costume again, but I did. Yesterday, years later, I was walking in the park, as one does, with a girl. We were on a second date. Things were going well until a clone of Tom Hanks in Castaway appeared out of nowhere and surprised us. I didn't know who the guy was or what he wanted until he pointed at himself and repeatedly said, "Star Wars," enough times for me to finally be like, no way, it is the homeless stormtrooper. As soon as the homeless stormtrooper noticed my confusion turned into realization, he unexpectedly closed the gap between us and gave me a bro hug like we were buddies. It was awkward, but I allowed it because I kind of felt guilty for how things turned out the last time he saw me. I introduced my date to the homeless stormtrooper and explained to her how we knew each other. The homeless stormtrooper encouraged us to follow him to his tent so that we could see that he still had the costume. I pointed out that time and explained to the homeless stormtrooper that we were on our way to see the new Fantastic Four movie and we didn't want to be late. My date responded and said that we still have loads of time before the movie starts, which prompted the homeless stormtrooper to lead us to his tent. He entered his tent alone and came out like 3 minutes later wearing the costume. My date was really impressed. I did my best to match your energy, but all I could think about was how we should not be missing the movie. The homeless stormtrooper disappeared into the tent again before reappearing with a skateboard and then doing some tricks for us. My date, who seemed to have forgotten that we were supposed to be bonding and stuff, took her phone out and proceeded to film the homeless stormtrooper for her TikTok or whatever. Meanwhile, another person emerged from the tent. I kid you not, this person looked identical to the homeless stormtrooper. I didn't ask, but I figured they were twins. The homeless twin approached me and offered to sell me some rubbers. The guy lifted his shirt and revealed a belt made out of rubbers strapped to his waist. I said no thank you, but he refused to take no for an answer, saying that he could tell what size I used just by shaking my hand, which made no sense to me. My date overheard this and encouraged me to shake hands with the homeless twin. To please my date, I played along and shook the dude's hand. Needless to say, it was no ordinary handshake. The homeless twin didn't let go of my hand for at least 30 seconds before pointing at one of the rubbers on his belt, saying, "Regular." My date asked me if that was accurate. I was like, what are the odds of me being average like most people on Earth? My sarcasm didn't land, and I ended up paying the homeless twin for his overpriced and expired rubbers just to make him leave me alone. This is truly sounding fake because it's so, insane. I was about to inform my date that it was time for us to go, but then the homeless stormtrooper fell off of his skateboard. After helping him get back on his feet and making sure he was 100% okay, I gave him some money and we said goodbye. We were late for the movie, which I had already paid for, so I had to book another time slot and pay again for both me and my date. In other words, I paid twice the price, twice, for an IMAX show in 3D, which is not cheap. On top of that, I had to pay a rubber whisperer for prehistoric rubbers and a skateboarding cosplayer for existing, I guess. Weirdest and most expensive second date of my life so far. But did you get a third date? Because your date seemed really chill about the whole interaction. Perfect time. We need to hydrate, all right? Let me know what is in your beverage. That doesn't make sense. Let me know what's in your cup for hydration station, but drink some water today, okay? I don't make the rules. Cheers. I actually do, but truly my wall feels naked without that sign now. It's so sad. Next story. Neighbor just shot my house. I moved in 2 weeks ago. This story was first posted July 23rd, 2025. And they wrote, "Fun wake-up call at midnight. My neighbor shot my effing house." And we have pictures, apparently. So, trigger warning. No pun intended on that. Oh, okay. So we see the hole of said trigger. Can't say certain words on here. Is that your shower? Yup. That's the shower. Look at that broken glass. How do you clean that up? I feel like you would be cleaning up glass for the next 17 weeks. I don't know what I'm looking at, but okay. Oh my gosh. Okay, we need some details. Why? So we have an update which came 1 hour later after that initial post. Cops found shells in neighbor's yard. That's all I know until speaking with an investigator this morning. I doubt there was any malicious intent, but as far as I'm concerned, pointing a weapon in a direction houses are and pulling the trigger is malicious enough. Fair statement. Next update came 11 hours later. Sorry for taking so long. We were up all night waiting for an investigator to come by. We were told it was high priority since a child was in the house when the incident occurred. Nothing. And I couldn't get a straight answer from anyone when I called the precinct with the case number I was given. We're pretty sure another person on the next street over was either injured or arrested, as there were lots of emergency lights over there for a while last night. But I didn't want to leave my house or my family at that time to go see what was happening. Not sure what the next steps are to take. Advice is most welcome. I'm so worried the person/people who did this are still running around. Fair to say, I would be terrified as well. Another update came 4 days later. Just got off the phone with the cops, finally got some answers. Apparently, my neighbor was the target of said incident. Their house was struck 4 or 5 times. The one that came into our house actually went all the way through theirs first, which is why I was under the impression that it came from their backyard. They're the house behind us. The police had to force entry into their house to make sure everyone was okay and discovered that it was empty at the time. This makes me glad I haven't started any legal processes against anyone yet, and even more glad that the person who shot at my house doesn't live right behind us. Still concerning though. I would still be very concerned because that's quite literally insane. And if they were a target and it was unsuccessful, what if they come back? I'm not trying to scare. I'm not helping. I'm not helping. Next story. Future ex-fiance is angry because I don't want to share my son's money. This story came May 27th, 2025. I, female 35, met my fiance 2 years ago. My son 4 gets on well with him, and my ex-husband, my son's father, also likes him. Now to the point. 3 years ago, I won a large sum of money in the lottery. Not millions, but enough for a nice life if I work normally and a good start for my son later. I just want to talk to someone who wins the lottery, you know? What's that like? Because that just feels like it'll never actually happen to people, but it does. 75% went into a savings account that my son will have access to when he is 21 years old. My fiance always thought he had plenty of money and never let me correct him. I insisted on a prenuptial agreement, and for that, the finances were disclosed. Now the amount in my son's saving account is about 5 times more than anything my fiance has. Completely enraged, he left the lawyer's office and ignored all my calls for 2 days. For me, that was the end of the relationship, and I wrote to him saying that he could have the ring back. A week later, he was at the door. He would love me, but was in shock and now wanted details of where the money had come from. He also told me that he had a 5-year-old daughter from a previous relationship and that it would only be fair to split the money so that his daughter could also benefit from it. He sees it as justified as I got the money through luck and not through performance. I gave him back the engagement ring and I kicked him out of my apartment. Since then, I've been getting messages from various social media profiles and cell phone numbers that I would be the a-hole who is ruining his daughter's future. I only found out about his daughter that day. I never saw any photos or anything like that in the past years. Okay, so does he even have a relationship with his daughter? Because do we even know if she exists? Or do you think he's saying that so he can get some of the money? This isn't adding up to me. And I'm not very good at math. I'm actually terrible at math. I went to summer school for math. Fun fact, you guys. True story. In grade 9 of high school, we had to take math, obviously. I took it and I was trying so hard, but this brain up here couldn't grasp anything. So I went into the final exam with a 49%. I was failing the class. My teacher pulled me aside to talk to me and she said, because you have been here and you have been trying, I will give you a 50% just to get the credit and pass the class, but you have to go to summer school this summer. That was in the agreement. Everybody knew about it, the school, my parents, everything. And that's exactly what happened. And I went to summer school and my grade, I got a 76 in summer school because it was very dumbed down for me. We do have an update, which came August 4th, 2025, 2 months later. After receiving many of your tips, I took my son to his grandparents, informed the police, and also my boss. Unfortunately, the police can't do much in my country as long as he doesn't commit a crime against me. Harassing me on the phone and begging for money doesn't count as a crime. I informed my boss mainly because my ex-fiance works for the company that we deal with almost daily. That is how we originally met. In recent weeks, there have been many attempts by his friends and family to contact me, all of whom wanted to convince me to give him the money. But everyone hung up when I asked about his daughter. Sketchy. When my ex-fiance showed up at my work, he didn't normally have to do that after getting a promotion. My boss called my fiance's company and explained that if he took one more step in my direction, all contracts would be canceled due to their unacceptable behavior. This led to a meeting with my ex-fiance's boss, my boss, and me. I didn't tell them every detail, but when it came to the money, his boss explained to me that my fiance actually wanted to buy a large stake in the company and was allegedly just waiting for the loan to be paid out. Yeah, 5-year-old daughter my ass. This made it clear why he wanted my son's money so badly. My ex-fiance is actually a highly respected employee at his company, which is why his boss was reluctant to fire him, especially since this probably wouldn't have improved my situation. And similar to the police, his boss considered it bad behavior, but it wasn't a criminal offense. At the same time, my company is a very large client for them, and sweeping the whole thing under the rug wouldn't help. After a few days, I received the news that my ex-fiance was being transferred to another branch of the company, several thousand kilometers away from me. Hallelujah. The company's purchasing department also clearly rejected the purchase. Afterwards, I found out via social media that my ex-fiance actually has a daughter. Okay, I'm not apologizing. Okay, maybe he has a daughter, but I still don't think he was using the money for the daughter. But all right, I was wrong. He has a kid. All right, I was wrong. A friend was still following him on Instagram to keep an eye on him, and when she looked at his tags from the last 6 years, she actually noticed his ex, and a look at her profile showed a girl of the specified age. I contacted her, and she willingly explained to me how much he actually wanted a child, and how, when the ultrasound showed it was a girl, he left her. Retract my apology. He broke off contact with the mother during the pregnancy and willingly gave up all of his rights and obligations of a father. She herself is now in a happy relationship and her husband loves her daughter. She never asked my ex-fiance for money. Following your advice regarding the savings account, I contacted our financial advisor and can now say that I must apologize to you. It is indeed a trust fund. I just hadn't referred to it as such until then, as it mainly referred to as a savings account in my country. But yes, it is a trust fund in the American sense. I discussed with my ex-husband, the father of my son, once again how we could make the payout, and thanks for your tips. We have now decided on a staggered payout from ages 21 to 35 so that he has a contribution for several stages of his life. What a blessing. The amount at age 21 has been chosen so that it can be used for college, but at the same time, it won't hurt too much if he squanders it. My question about am I the a-hole was mainly because there were actually many people in my circle who called me that because I persuaded my ex-fiance to sign a prenuptial agreement. But for me, a prenuptial agreement was important for several reasons. One, to secure my son's money. Now I know he wouldn't have been able to get his hands on it. Number two, I started a small business in addition to my main job. Nothing big at the moment, but it's still mine. Number three, I'm saving money so that I can eventually realize my dream of owning a house in Australia, and I didn't want to lose that money to him in a divorce. In retrospect, I can see how many red flags I overlooked on his part, and I will definitely be more careful in the future. I am all for prenuptial agreements, and I know that is up for big debate because not everyone agrees with them. Matt and I have talked. We are both business owners. I definitely want to sign a prenuptial agreement, as does he, just to protect our businesses that we have both been building as individuals. Knock on wood that we will never be divorced and that'll never be a thing, but I'm protecting myself. Let me tell you, I am protecting all of my hard work. I don't care who you are, all right? All right, but let me know what your thoughts are. Is she the a-hole for wanting a prenuptial agreement for that? The answer is no, but let me know your opinions. I'm just kidding. Kidding. Let me know your thoughts and feelings and how you would handle these things, you guys. I'll see you in the comment section because this was weird. Stay classy out there. Stay sassy. I'll see you tomorrow.